The key is to be fair to all the automobile owners so they pay their fair share to fix the road.
That from a state lawmaker this evening, as electric vehicle owners in Pennsylvania may soon be paying up for their eco-friendly car. Thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News at 5. I'm Evan Forrester. Proposed legislation in Harrisburg would require those who drive EVs to pay a yearly fee.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, politicians have to figure out a way for EV drivers to pay their equivalent of the gas tax. In the United States, they have a gas tax funding concern, and there is a significant issue with the current funding structure for the roads, bridges, relying heavily on the state gas tax. With the increasing popularity of electric vehicles, EVs, which don't contribute to the current gas tax revenue, there's a growing concern about funding shortfalls for the infrastructure projects. The data they're going to present indicates that the Pennsylvania is short billions of dollars annually for the infrastructure, and this gap needs to be addressed. Let's get right into this video right here from Fox.
The key is to be fair to all the automobile owners so they pay their fair share to fix the road.
That from a state lawmaker this evening, as electric vehicle owners in Pennsylvania may soon be paying up for their eco-friendly car. Thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News at 5. I'm Evan Forrester. Proposed legislation in Harrisburg would require those who drive EVs to pay a yearly fee. Now, the goal there is to make up some of the money that's being lost by these vehicle owners who are not paying their share of the state's gasoline tax. Fox 43's Alyssa Kratz joining us live now from the state capitol in Harrisburg. And Alyssa, that gas tax money is what helps fund work for bridges and roads in the Commonwealth.
Evan, that's right. And this is really just all part of these ongoing budget negotiations. And there is bipartisan support for this kind of bill. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisles agree that EV owners need to be paying something, but just how much is where they're not really seeing eye to eye. The current proposal is $290 a year, which would make that the highest EV fee in the country. If you have an electric vehicle, it may soon be time to pay up.
When I started this process, there might have been 5,000 electric vehicles. Now there's 10,000 electric vehicles. A lot of the manufacturers are saying they're not going to make gas cars anymore. So we are not going to have a way to fund our infrastructure.
Pennsylvania's roads and bridges are funded through a state gas tax. The current rate of 61 cents per gallon is one of the highest in the U.S. Electric vehicle drivers, though, aren't paying it.
So basically, the legislation suggests an annual flat fee of $290 for EV owners, aiming to compensate for the lost gas tax revenue. And this amount is noted as the highest in the country, as they stated in the video, raising concerns about the fairness. The comparison with a typical Pennsylvania driver pays a gas tax introduces an element of equity in the proposed fee, but it's a contentious point and an ongoing bipartisan discussion.
Pay gas tax, obviously, you pay an alternative fuels tax. Well, it turns out most electrical vehicle drivers don't know about the alternative fuels tax and aren't paying it.
That's why Republican Senator Greg Rothman is proposing a bill that would get rid of that tax, instead requiring all EV owners pay a flat rate $290 every year.
That works out to what the typical Pennsylvania driver is paying in gas taxes, and that's why it's fair.
The bill has passed out of the Senate and is now in the House. Democratic House Transportation Committee Chairman Ed Nielsen agrees EV owners need to pay their share, but wants to see a lower price tag. So
basically, the EV incentive presented by the government is going back to the government, and they give you in one hand and take it out from the other. And don't forget about the $2,500 for a Type 2 or Type 3 charging system that needs to be installed at home. So the prices keep going up.
And gradually work up as more of these EVs get on the road.
He's put forth an amendment that would instead start the fee at $125, gradually increasing it to $225.
The key is to be fair to all the automobile owners so they pay their fair share to fix the road. And we believe that's a fluctuating number.
Representative Nielsen says some people may think a higher fee will help fix the state's infrastructure deficit. He doesn't believe that's true.
PennDOT is short billions of dollars every year on fixing our infrastructure. And I'm afraid they're trying to use this as an excuse not to address that issue.
Now, if this legislation is signed into law, this fee would have no impact on the federal tax credit that's already given to those people who buy electric vehicles. Representative Nielsen tells me he hopes that they can come to a resolution and have a bill sent to Governor Shapiro's desk by the end of this week. Reporting live in Harrisburg, Alyssa Kratz, Fox 43 News.
So there is a bipartisan support for the idea that EV owners should contribute, but there's a disagreement on the appropriate fee, and Republican Senator Greg Rothman advocates for the $290 fee, while Democratic House Transportation Committee Chairman Ed Nielsen proposes a starting point at $125, gradually increasing to $225. This reflects the challenge of finding a balanced solution that both parties can agree on, but nevertheless, you will and must pay. And they play a lot of emphasis on the roads and the bridges. And to be fair, in an article some time ago stated that EVs are getting too heavy and too powerful, says the safety chief. The NTSB chief warns that heavier vehicles mean severe injuries and death. And if you go further down into the article, it shows that a Ford F-150 curb weight over the time it was produced between 1993 up until 2023, the Ford F-150 Lightning. In 1993, the 1993 Ford F-150 extended cab weighed 4,218 pounds. Fast forward to 2023, the Ford F-150 Lightning stands at 6,015 pounds. To do another comparison, we will look at the BMW and its curb weight over time. In 1993, the BMW 325i weighed 3,087 pounds. Now, the EV version of it, which is the 2023 BMW i4 eDrive 40, stands at 4,680 pounds. And let's look at a smaller version, the Mini Cooper curb weight over time. In 1993, the Mini Cooper weighed 1,400 pounds. And in 2023, the Mini Cooper SE, which is the EV version, stands at 3,144 pounds. So as you can see, heavier vehicles means heavier wear and tear. Now, the overarching theme emphasizes the fairness to all automobile owners, with an understanding that they should contribute their fair share to fund road repairs. Remember, EVs are far more heavier than their gas counterparts, and looking at data has proven it. So an EV tax will now be a part of sin tax, tobacco, alcohol, which increases yearly. Representative Nielsen's perspective on a fluctuating fees based on a fair share principle introduces a nuanced approach that recognizes the evolving nature of the issue. The proposed legislation raises important points about funding infrastructure in the face of a changing automotive landscape. It's always evolving. EVs are here. They are heavier. The roads will be affected for the cost of maintenance. You will have to pay. The ongoing discussions and eventual decisions will have implications for both owners and the general public. The ongoing discussions and eventual decisions will have implications for both EV owners and the general public, impacting how road maintenance is funded in the years to come. It's a complex issue that will require careful consideration to balance fairness and sustainability, but what is done, and come 2035, we will all know how our pockets will be affected. So basically, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Let me know your thoughts below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.